Here's your little microphone.
Thank you.
And I'll put ours over here. Rachel microphone.
Is this microphone for the YouTube?
Yeah, so it's just for the iPad.
Gotcha.
So that we're not yelling or echoing.
So you can hear us.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this microphone's for the audio, podcast audio. I guess I should quit crumpling my water bottle.
Look, I did it without trying to touch the screen.
Yay!
Oh, I'm so proud.
Well, I shouldn't celebrate yet because I probably will try. All right, so this is the part one day I'll get. It's funny, every time I open my laptop, the app for this podcast pops up. Oh, it's very aggressive. But then when I need it,
You can't find
When
it.
you're actually trying to podcast.
I'm gonna have you do it because again, with my training wheels, with my mouse. Yeah.
Hey, we're here. We got a metronome. Y'all can't hear it, but okay. We'll put it back on for a second. Just we're getting started. Y'all didn't hear that because we were dancing. We'll turn the metronome off. Kind of keeps the conversation going now. I'm gonna pass it over to you, Lizzie. Just kidding. Okay, turn it off.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Oops. So I have some opening. I'm sorry.
She's opening her notebook upside down.
My old
She's flipping through it.
I didn't touch the screen.
I feel like we should open our podcast with with how you closed our yoga class.
Oh, you want me to?
So funny.
We'll do that. I got two things.
I was so super mellow. Like I rolled myself up. My eyes were closed. And then you started talking, and I was like, "Yes,
I think she did.
She did.
I'll read that. Maybe I'll read that at the end.
Yeah.
I'll read this at the beginning. So
Okay.
I have two. So we're going to be talking about different friend dynamics and girlfriend groups and adult friends or relationships. We have intricate relationships with family, whatever comes to mind. But first,
Still dancing. The metronome's still going in my head.
so I have a stupid joke, a dad joke. Is it?
Okay.
Okay.
I love those.
What do you call your friends you always go out to eat with?
What? I can never guess.
I don't know.
Taste buds.
Oh,
I love
loving
it.
that.
I saw that. I don't even know where. Probably Instagram. That's where I see everything.
Can I tell a joke?
Yes, go.
Yes.
There were 3 snowmen, and one of the snowmen looked at the other one and went, "Hey, do you smell carrots?"
Okay, I've got one too. So I got to give you backstory. So my dad is a cattleman. He races horses. He does all the stuff. And so he is recovering from hip surgery right now, and I'm trying to keep him entertained. And I sent him this one. 2 cowboys are lost in the desert. One cowboy sees a tree that's draped in bacon. "A bacon tree, we're saved," he says. He runs to the tree and is shot up with bullets. It wasn't a bacon tree. It was a ham bush.
A ham bush. I love that
Oh my
one.
God.
I'm glad we all have our good jokes.
That is funny. Now
we could probably do stand up.
I couldn't. I'd be too scared.
Rachel's like, "Wait, stand up. Let's do it. All right, next Wednesday, book it."
You go up there.
Yeah.
I think we could do improv with Amanda.
Oh yeah.
While being recorded.
So she does a game at the end of like her 2 hour class. So she gets you into the moment, she gets you feeling like braver. And then the last game is called Fortune Teller. And one person is the fortune teller and they go out of the room. And the team inside the room, so typically it's 4 or 5 people, decide on, okay, what are we trying to convey? So one person's the fortune teller, they left the room, everybody else knows what they're doing and they're working together to create a scene. The fortune teller comes back in and the people have to create the scene. So like one of them that we did was one of the women, the woman comes in and she says, will you read my fortune? The fortune teller's looking at her crystal ball and all the people are in the background acting it out. And it's, you're going to fall in love. You're going to meet a prince. He's going to be the prince of a garbage dump. And in your wedding, you're going to wear a shower curtain. And all of those facts came out through no words improvisation.
That's so,
oh my gosh.
And they figured it out.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
Mine was the team. I was going to create my own sport and take it all the way to the Olympics. And it was synchronized swimming and bowling. And again, they figured it out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
That sounds like a really fun game.
That does.
What's on your upside down notebook?
I have a quote of the day. I had to make you uncomfortable, otherwise you would have never moved.
Yep. That's true.
I think that ties right in, right, to the relationships and the like. It is hard to do relationships well. And so Brene Brown says clear is kind. And so at my house, we say like, clear is kind. I'm going to say something now. And, you know, a lot of times the clear message is not what we want to hear because it's kind of outside of alignment with where our head is and what we're trying to make happen. But sometimes it's not the right direction. And you need the people that love you to be willing to say, hey, I see something happening here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
It's like the family equivalent of someone saying you have something on your face.
Yeah.
And, like, this is going to be uncomfortable, but you guys chill over your face.
Yeah.
You know? So that's good.
Well, I think that ties right in, right? Like being a good friend is not easy.
Yeah.
Because being an acquaintance is easy. I can go with the flow. I can laugh at everything you do, or like just be a, you know, like the party friend. But if I am your actual friend, then I'm going to tell you the hard things that you don't necessarily want to hear. And I have to trust that you love me enough to receive that message. And you have to trust that I love you enough to have your best interest at heart when I'm delivering the message.
And that's hard. And I think I'll go, and I think you do this too. You might, I don't know. Yes, you do too. I think where you go over, you have your outings or whatever, and then you go home, good, bad, or whatever, and you go home and you're like, did I not say something to her after she said that? Is she gonna think I was ignoring her? And like, did I seem distracted? I'll obsess. I don't anymore, but I'll catch myself and I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I do. I so want to be like a good friend to people that have been such good friends to me. Yeah. And I was thinking about it today. I was out with my son Justin, and I'm like, gosh, you know, I better call her because I haven't talked to her in so long, and I don't want her to be mad at me because I had run into another friend who, and we chat like on and off here and there, but I'm like, you know what? I haven't initiated conversation with her, and that is important to me. And so I will make sure to send her a cute text sometime next week because otherwise I'll be kicking myself if I don't.
Yep.
But she came up to me today. You know, I ended up seeing her today, and I I was like, hey, are you at the collection? And she was like, yes, are you here? You know, and then she came over to where I was and we chatted for a second, and then me and Justin went into lunch. But
Yeah.
it was, I don't know.
It's all good, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that like reflecting on the exchange, I do that with Braden, right? My son,
Yeah.
because I want to be present. I want him to feel like he's an important part of my life and that spending time with him is important.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we're together, I work really hard to be present, and then I'll catch myself like, oh man, I was checking emails and I shouldn't have been checking emails, or you like, and I think sometimes we have to give ourselves a little grace, right?
Yeah.
My goal is to be the best person that I can be and to be constantly growing. And part of that is figuring out how to be a little more gentle on myself.
Also, that's hard. I think there's a difference in like going to bed like anxiously going over what mistakes you might have made versus going to bed calmly and intentionally scanning your day for finding where you had an opportunity to do better tomorrow.
Yes.
Yep.
Like it might sound a little, we are both nodding, so I think you don't think it sounds cheesy, but
Not at all.
it's, you know what I mean? Like I think we're on autopilot with the anxious like review, the daily anxious review, right? That prevents us from falling asleep. And it's, I think just intentionally relabeling it like tells the brain that it's safe to think about what we might have done in a way we don't prefer.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, how did I mess up today, or who did I hurt, or like,
yeah,
it's like, or what can I like cringe about? It's more like, what can I,
highlight it.
well, yeah, what can I go to sleep with intention to do better and see what the dream state shows me, or just code that into your subtle bodies for your sleep.
I was at a conference last week, and one of the speakers was talking about failures, and it kind of ties into what you're talking about.
Ooh.
Because there were two pieces to the conversation. The first part was we should be looking to fail, because if you're not failing, then you're not pushing yourself hard enough. And you have to inspect those failures, right? With intention. You have to go in and look at where did I fail today or this week or this month, and what did I learn from it? And so like there was a big discussion piece on like personally how you can use failure to be better, to grow. And then there was a piece about when you're interviewing candidates, and I kind of stretch it out to interviewing friends and people you're going to let close to your heart, right? A question for them is, tell me about a time you failed and tell me what you learned from it. And then they put a bunch of things on the board that were like, here are some red flags. And it's, well, I wasn't set up to succeed. Well, my boss did something. Well, this other thing happened that didn't allow me to meet my goals. And so all those avoidance words are the red flag. Like, this is a person that's not willing to inspect their life and what's happening and how to be better. And we are looking for people that are trying to be the best people they can be, and how they look at failure is an important piece of that.
Yeah. That's huge. Yeah, and I think the formula for adjusting that nighttime ritual of let's change night anxieties to a power growth ritual. It's like you have to have compassion. What you said reminded me that you have to have compassion for yourself, because most of us are told that failure is bad, but we know as people on a healing path that failure is the only way through an issue and then the only way to grow. But that takes repatterning and reprogramming in your brain as well. So it's like, if you blend compassion with changing the verbiage of what your mind is wanting to do, so that you work with what your brain naturally wants to do instead of resisting it. It's like, if I let the anxious thoughts start out anxious, be like, all right, go for it, bubble up, do what you do, hurt my stomach, make my teeth clench, and then I'm aware of it and I can pause and watch it, and then sort of allow it to do what it's going to do without resisting it or clenching my teeth. It's like, okay, that's trying to show me, and I'm really trying to avoid it right now, but it's really trying to show me that I have some trust issues in that particular relationship. Maybe that's why I snapped that way. And I noticed when I snapped that way that my whole body tensed up. So just noticing what happened in that thing in the day that I typically want to just like cringe about before I sleep. It's like noticing exactly what was going on really helps me have like a new framework to put it on next time.
Yeah, and I think that anxiety pattern, and I'm speaking from experience, so my personal story is that anxiety pattern is I'm beating myself up for something I did, and I'm caught in the cycle of beating myself up versus intentionally deconstructing things and looking for ways to do them better in the future.
I just pictured like a tumbleweed, but it's like a cycle, but like things getting tangled all in a circle. Or I guess like the washing machine, if you ever pull out a pair of like soft pants that are all like twisted into like a hard ball.
Or like your sweater's wrapped around your pants and everything's
and you're like, it's so tight in there.
I was thinking the double Dutch rope.
Oh yeah.
Like never get in or out of it.
I think that's so fascinating, right? The way people's brains work and how each of us have our like imagination tied to like, in order for me to understand this, I need double Dutch ropes.
Right. That's what I love about this, like bringing back your childlike wonder and play. You know, it's like if everything looks a certain way to you, that's the right way for your body and your brain to assimilate your reality. But if someone's like, don't color the pants red and the shirt blue, reverse it because denim, here's why, son. Denim, do you know about the industry of denim? Did you ever hear about Henry Ford? It's like you just lay out, like let it be a blob and
be creative with it.
And let that kid be like, look what I need. And it's like you poured the whole thing of paint onto a paper plate and now there's paint on the bottom of the floor. But it's like, he's like, look what I created with this color. I'm an art. He's imagining he's like an artist. Like, let him do that. And when we do that for ourselves, our brain gets back to that expansive, like theta state of curiosity.
Yep. When Braden was like 5, I signed him up for a summer camp at an art school in San Antonio. And on the kickoff day, the director of the school was like, okay, parents, like, we are here to let these kids find their bliss. And you're going to be real uncomfortable with that because we don't have a curriculum. They're going to just play. And I, like, a lot of the parents were like, I paid for this. And I was like, can I come?
You're like blowing bubbles. They're like telling the instructions. Yeah, I love that so much. And I think that's how I approach these kind of things, like honestly things. I approach it with like an unstructured structure of I'm going to create this space right now. Instead of just letting my brain like do what it does till it pass out, I'm like, I'm going to create a space intentionally so that I can feel the cringies. There's like cringies every day. I'm like, let me scan my day for the cringies and see what I can alchemize. Yeah.
I definitely have my laying down, going to sleep time where I scan and think about the day. And I also do morning pages. Have you guys ever heard about the concept of morning pages? So every morning, and it comes from a book called The Artist's Way, and it's about unlocking creative blocks. But the concept is you free write, like stream of consciousness writing first thing in the morning. And the goal is not to write anything specific. It's just to fill up 3 pages. And I use it for these growth conversations, right? Like when I'm struggling with something, I just start writing and I just write about it. And it's really interesting what comes out because it's not prescriptive. I'm not writing an essay. I am just writing whatever comes to mind.
Oh, wow. This is the book, Radical Acceptance, that we're reading for book club. Like so many of these things are in that book. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Compassion.
I need to get on that.
I should probably read that.
Like feeling the feelings and the uncomfortable and sitting, like the pause. It's called the pause, which I think one of you mentioned that. Yeah. I mean, I'm dying over here because I'm like, oh my God, I read about that. Well, read about
it. It is reading.
Yeah, I was driving and listening. But everything, like it's important. And but like she has this story about she's a therapist and one of her clients came in and she was having trouble with her mom and also with her husband, and she realized that she was being defensive and lashing out as as a like a protective mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so this therapist sat her down and she's like, we're going to practice the pause. And they did this over and over. It took a series of sessions for her to do it. And then I don't know if it was Thanksgiving. She was with her mom, like it was at a dinner, and her mom's, getting on her about something. And normally she'd be like, and she sat there and let her mom do her thing. And her mom's like, and what are you going to do now? And she was like, I don't know, Mom. And her mom didn't have any ammo.
Nothing left.
Nothing. But then it like made this really cool thing happen where she had this connection with her mom again. Like this wall had been broken down and all she did was
not react.
Yeah. And like and she was thinking about all the feelings she was having during what her mom was saying and the compassion for it. And it was really cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
But
and I think that's so interesting, right? Because we do not feel our feelings. We stuff our feelings. We avoid our feelings. We push our feelings aside. We medicate our feelings. We blur our feelings with alcohol. But we were talking earlier about sadness, right? And how when you get through the feelings, it's grief, it's sadness, it's hurt. And
usually it's just hurt that people aren't getting along around you, and that you're not getting along, you're not in harmony with people. Usually it's that. But that turns into layer after layer. It turns into you not liking people, or
frustration, anger,
short temper. All those low vibration emotions are just basically like pieces of a building that you've built yourself as with your little baby hands the first time you got hurt, building a little wall around your heart with your little baby grubby hands.
The baby grubby hands is a great segue, because Rachel and I were talking about in relationships, when you get hurt, it's so easy to be like, oh, I guess I just shouldn't let anyone else in. Yeah. Oh, I guess I need to build a wall with my little baby grubby hands. And if you take the time to pause and really think about it, like, that's no way to live.
Yeah, and the hammer is heavy when you're little, like, well, I want to lift that thing again. It's just like, but we get we just tend to get really comfortable being uncomfortable in our own inner world of like blocking to prevent. But it's like, if you're building a wall around something, like what I'm realizing is as I'm taking all those walls down, it's like I was protecting something that I never got to enjoy. Like, you ever seen, I always wondered about those car covers, like the front bumper cover. It's like,
I haven't seen my bumper ever.
Yeah, like I've seen I've never used one, but you're seeing it on like nicer cars, and it's like, yeah, it's to protect the thing, but like you're driving it so people can see you in it. And so when I see you, all I see is a bumper cover, and I want to see the whole thing. So to me, it's like I've had these covers over everything, over the beautiful, perfect like being that I was created to be.
It's and then you've been hiding it.
Yeah, covered in little like
in the name of protecting it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! In the name of perfection. It's the name of protection and perfection, and we're literally we don't need either. Here,
we're lying to ourselves.
Neither exists. Like neither need to exist.
Well, neither do exist.
Exactly.
It's an illusion.
It's
anyway.
An illusion. The Maya. Actually, that ties into just a cute little like hippie thing. I'm sure we'll be done here soon because we're doing a short, because we had a long conversation before the podcast. It's a short little guy, but it's a good way to end it. I noticed once I was picking up my dog's poop one time, and so I was down close to the ground, and it was on a trail, and it was in the winter still, so there wasn't much of the green around in the trail. But I noticed like the absolute beauty and uniqueness of every single leaf. Like all of them are brown from up here, but when I squatted down, I was like, every single leaf is unique. Like there's something different about all of these. And if I was ever bored and I needed my like senses to be entertained, I could spend a lifetime examining and studying the beautiful little differences in every little leaf.
Well, and it's pervasive in the natural world, right? Because it's leaves, it's snowflakes, it's the bark on a tree, it's the way the ants march in a single line.
Yeah, but no things are the same. They're all a unique version of it. No two trees look alike. Like everything is unique. So there's plenty to take in. Like you don't need to look at external things or like your mind. If you need, I was in a meditative state, so I guess I was in that like where it's like if I need to train my brain, all I have to do is like look outside somewhere because nothing is. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like I could spend so much time just being like that leaf, that leaf. I could spend hours taking all the differences in, but from far away, you're just like that's a bunch of leaves. But
Yeah.
really, so that's how I feel about people. Is I don't I don't know. I feel like everyone
We're
has
all
like,
unique and we all have value.
there's
and
no
we don't
one
have to
way.
look the same.
Yeah, and there's no one way I'm supposed to conduct myself. Like, sure, there's like guidelines for how to be a human, but like the way I show up and the way I express my emotions is so unique to just me when I'm untethered by expectations that weren't mine to begin with. Like, when I'm authentic to myself, but within reason and with respect and love, no one can be me. No one can replicate me, and no one can ever be as authentic as I can be when I'm being my authentic self. And that's true for every person. So I think it's just cool to remember that, yeah, we have standards and ideals and like values and morals and codes and things, but we also have to give each other breathing room to grieve and to be how we need to be and stop holding, like I'm speaking from experience where it's like I need to stop expecting someone to suddenly react the way I think they should react. I accept them as they are, and I can adjust myself around that and maintain my bubble. You know?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you just said. And I think that ties into the conversation we were having earlier about where's the line of I'm a good person and I'm being compassionate and I want to accept you for you.
But you're hurting
And when
me.
somebody's hurting you. And so how do you find that line to still feel like a good person who is trying to make good choices,
Yeah.
but not let somebody hurt you
Yeah.
over and over and over again?
Yeah.
And I don't have the solution for that. Like
We don't. No,
I've had to navigate it many times in my life, and every time it's a different line. Like, but I think it's a personal choice, right? That
Yeah.
this was too much for me, and
Yeah.
so you have a right to be you. But if you're hurting me, then you can't be in my space. You can't be part of my world.
You know what people have told me there is, and I think all three of us have had this conversation in different forms, but yeah, it's like draw the boundary because you protect yourself and your energy first. And if it's depleting you in any way, then you draw that boundary first and then you send them to the light with love. Like,
Yes.
that's like what I do, what we talk about doing with low vibrational feelings and thought forms that aren't necessarily serving us. Like, what do we do with this? Or what do we do that experience or whatever, that memory? Send it back to the source, the light, to God with love, but like from the way the F over here.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that piece of way the F, and you can even say the F word
Right.
over here.
And
like,
you're
I'm
doing
gonna
it
be
without
here.
anger and
Yeah,
bitterness
neutral. Neutral but assertive, and boundaries is having self love before giving and allowing low vibrational things to just run amok around you. It's like cleaning your energetic space is more important, and if that involves you having to cut someone out, and as long as your side of the street is clean, meaning you do it with love, that's all you need.
Yeah.
I learned that about forgiveness too, is that it doesn't actually, the words, the presentation, and the communication between the two parties doesn't even matter. It's all an internal decision.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with me this past week. Something happened where I felt it it felt like I shed like decades of heaviness and like just a jumble of negative emotions. It felt like a little weight was like taken off of me, and it was only on my side.
It's poison, right? When we hold that bitterness, we hold that anger, we're not hurting anybody but ourselves.
Yeah. Look down if you have white knuckles and wonder why your forearms hurt. You know, maybe you gotta let something go.
You've been clenching your teeth, your jaw hurts.
I've realized that with the actual letting go, it's like my actual hands are curled inwards, and most of us are too, because it's like
my husband says that a lot. It's very much for him about like, if you walk around the world trying to control, you're doing this. And when you release those fingers, you can live happier and calmer and more solid.
Yeah.
because this is an illusion anyway.
Yeah.
Right? We're bracing and we're pretending like we
From
have things
nothing.
under control, but we don't have anything under control.
Yeah, the body's like blind, like, you know, and it's like in the command center, like, what's going on out there? Why can't we get blood flow to our extenders or whatever? And it's like, there's no threat. I don't know, sir. Like, so eventually, whenever it lets go, it's like 10 extra sears into the world, you know, like before she's like fist. So I feel like it really does like open up all your pathways too. So with that, coffee break, finger flicks.
Oh yes, I love finger flicks.
Yeah, because that actually feels a little uncomfortable because it's like so underused for me to open up my hand. I'm always clenching.
Well, and there should be some tension there, right? Because you're extending and you're using those joints in all of their range of motion, which we don't do on a daily basis.
You know, like 10 little humans, 10 little mini-me's out here
to do all the work.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we wanted to cover?
I don't know. I think, well, we talked about this all before.
Maybe
before
the
podcast.
listener will give us feedback.
Listener,
send us a note.
What do you think? No.
Let us know if we covered everything you wanted, and then let us know what you'd like us to talk about, listener.
We appreciate you, listener.
Just call us. Did you want me to read that?
Yes.
Where did I find that?
Oh, and this is how yoga class was ended today. You have it?
One minute. I have to dig it up from my library of yoga and other shit. It's way on down. Ooh, is that it? Oh yeah, here it is. Got it. It wasn't as far down as I thought. All right, so this is how we'll end it today. And then you were like, fuck this shit. It's not my thing anymore, and it isn't serving my soul. And then you return to life with less regret and way more meaning, and you slayed and slayed. Good day.
Good day.
Good day,
sir.
Good day, sir. Good evening, listener. Goodbye.
And goodbye to
Goodbye.
you.
Turn.